Welcome, everyone. Let's just dive right into it. Today, we're doing a top-down executive briefing on the rapidly evolving stack behind Agentic AI. Now, if you're a CTO or an enterprise IT leader, you are constantly being bombarded with claims about autonomous AI. It's everywhere, right? Well, in this explainer, we are going to cut through all that noise. We're taking a purely architectural approach, examining the complete stack from the software all the way down to the metal. Here is our roadmap. We're going to start at the software interface layer, unpack the cloud execution models, and then drive all the way down to the bare metal TPU silicon required to actually power this stuff, including sparse core tech and network topology. All right, part one, the Agentic Platform Showdown. Let's start right at the application layer and evaluate the strategic choices sitting on your desk today. When we compare the big three agents, it is immediately obvious that they're making entirely different architectural bets. Gemini Spark is leveraging persistent cloud execution. It runs 24/7 on Google Cloud virtual machines, even if your actual device is totally powered off. Claude Max, on the other hand, leans hard into a screen-aware desktop environment, completing multi-step tasks right there on your local hardware via Claude Cowork. And then you have ChatGPT Pro, which is still very much focused on browser-based deep research and its massive ecosystem of custom GPTs. You'll also notice their integration depths vary, with Spark and Claude utilizing the Model Context Protocol for third-party connections. But here is the real kicker: $100 a month. Across the board, all three of these premium agent-level tiers command the exact same price point. So what does that mean for you? It means your strategic choice literally has nothing to do with the monthly cost. It relies entirely on your organization's execution requirements. Do you actually need persistent, always-on cloud automation? Or are you looking for active, screen-aware desktop orchestration? To answer that, we really have to look at how these agents run under the hood, which brings us to Section 2, Cloud Execution and Infrastructure. It's really a tale of two paradigms. On one side, you've got this responsive client-side on-device setup. It relies heavily on the active computing power of the local machine to execute sequential actions based on visual context. But on the other side, we have a continuous server-side workflow. Google actually calls their infrastructure for this the anti-gravity harness. It is constantly running, handling incredibly complex multi-turn states, and it can even spawn multiple sub-agents to tackle parallel tasks without any user even being present. This quote honestly hits the nail on the head. A platform like anti-gravity isn't just an agent. It's the entire runtime environment. It handles the tool definitions, the memory, error recovery, the whole multi-agent orchestration shebang. The model itself, say a Gemini 3.5 Flash, is just one component plugged into this massive state-managing cloud infrastructure. But as you can probably guess, providing that persistent 24/7 cloud compute comes at an immense back-end cost. And to understand that true cost, we have to descend further down the stack. Section 3, Silicon for the Agentic Era. Let's talk about tensor processing units. Tracking this over just a handful of years, the sheer explosion in training throughput is wild. In 2023, TPU v5p gave us 2.8 times faster training than v4. Literally a year later, Trillium, the v6e generation, offered 4.7 times the peak compute of the prior efficient generation. By 2025, Ironwood delivers a staggering 10x performance leap over v5p to handle these massive frontier models. But the real game changer? That happens in 2026. The demands of these continuous, always-on agents literally forced a divergence in the hardware. A single general-purpose chip just couldn't do it all anymore. So Generation 8 requires entirely distinct TPU architectures. You have the 8T for complex pre-training of world models, and then you have the 8I, which is optimized specifically for the low-latency serving of massive mixture of experts agentic models. Desktop-reliant agents might still lean on simpler, earlier TPU generations for their lighter backend needs, but persistent cloud agents, they absolutely demand this split architecture. And to ensure these newer TPUs stay fed and don't stall out waiting for data, they're deploying ARM-based Axion CPU headers to eliminate data preparation bottlenecks. Okay, moving to Section 4, Scaling with Sparse Core Technology. Let's look at a very specific piece of the architecture designed strictly for agentic models. So what exactly is sparse core? Well, it's a specialized data flow processor. You see, agentic AI relies heavily on embedding dense workloads. It's essentially looking up semantic meanings across massive vocabularies, which creates really irregular memory access patterns. Sparse core offloads these data-dependent operations.
Think of it like a specialized, super fast librarian fetching the exact books you need, ensuring the primary compute units, the MXUs doing all the heavy lifting, stay constantly fed and busy doing math rather than just waiting around for memory lookups. It prevents those zero-op bottlenecks. And the way this technology has had to scale is incredible. It started back in V4, but by V5P, it jumped to 4 cores per chip, giving us a 1.9x leap in embedding performance. Then Ironwood integrated it into a high-speed dual chiplet design. And now, the TPU-8T optimizes sparse core across massive cluster sizes to meet the crazy demands of advanced semantic routing. And when I say massive scale, I am talking 9,600. That is the number of individual chips seamlessly linked together in a single TPU-8T superpod. Working in total unison, they share 2 petabytes of high-bandwidth memory to train the advanced world models that become tomorrow's autonomous agents. It's just mind-boggling scale. Which perfectly leads us to our final section, topology and interconnect bandwidth. Because having 9,600 chips is completely useless if they can't talk to each other fast enough. The workload totally dictates the plumbing here. Cost-efficient inference models can get away with simpler 2D torus designs, kind of like navigating a flat city grid. But frontier training on the latest hardware, that absolutely necessitates a 3D torus. It is a multi-level superhighway of multi-directional pathways designed to handle thousands of chips without creating network traffic jams. Just look at this exponential leap in inter-chip interconnect, or ICI, bandwidth. We go from 3.2 terabits per second in Trillium to 9.6 in Ironwood to a staggering 19.2 terabits per second in the 8. This leap is exactly what allows millions of simulated agents to synchronize gradients and orchestrate logic simultaneously without being crippled by network latency. So I want to leave you with this one question to chew on as you architect your IT roadmap for the coming years. Are you provisioning silicon for yesterday's chatbots or tomorrow's always-on autonomous agents? The software models are already pivoting from reactive tools to proactive stateful systems. The hardware stack has already split to accommodate them. Is your infrastructure strategy ready for that shift? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep building for the future.